Well, how about... Nope. Even alcohol will not help me get through this chapter. Okay, like... No, I think I'm good. I'm thinking... You know what? I needed that. It's a Monday. Well, it's Sunday right now when I'm recording this, but trust me, we'll all need a laugh. Okay. We need a laugh on a Monday, guys. We need a laugh on a Monday because this chapter is nothing if not comical, is it not? This entire chapter. Now, the premise of the chapter is not necessarily bad. I'm trying to say that with a straight face. The premise of the chapter of Ayakashi Triangle, chapter 44, is not that bad. But it becomes ludicrous by the end of it. It becomes completely ludicrous. Like, okay, so the idea is that, of course, Matsuri, for no ichi reasons whatsoever, needs to start wearing women's underwear. Needs to wear panties. And of course, I mean, not exactly granny panties. Needs to wear something a little more Victoria's Secret, if you know what I'm saying. And he even complains about this to his mother, who is back, and the grandfather's there sipping tea, and everybody's all good, and just says, like, do I really have to do this? And she says, like I said before, the strength of your cone, which is why she was able to take over his wind and why he's not as strong or as powerful as some other ninjas, is it determines how powerful an exorcist ninja is. Now, how tough your spirit is depends and determines is how you control your wind and how strong your body can get. That's why they always push themselves under waterfalls, meditation, physical training and stuff. Now, as she points out, since you're a boy, you prefer wearing traditional fundoshi, which is, of course, the Japanese, underwear. But it could be anything. Like, you're comfortable wearing boy clothes, right? It's sort of like taking a tomboy and putting her in a dress. Or it's like taking somebody like me. It'd be like putting me in a dress. I'm going to be uncomfortable. My spirit's going to waver. Like, that's what's explained here. These emotions will serve to strengthen your spirit and be far more effective than it ever would under a waterfall. This is some quick training really quickly if you can overcome this trial. Now, this is done for hilarity reasons. Now, this is why I say the premise of the chapter is well-founded, because I understand that. If Matsuri's power is actually regulated by his willpower, his spirit, his mental conditioning, then of course putting him in stressful, anxiety, and embarrassing situations that he needs to overcome would only strengthen spirit, right? Now there is a downfall that it doesn't. It becomes even more determined and socially awkward and embarrassed and etc., etc. But ideally that would work. Sort of like I would argue, I guess I wouldn't know, but I guess the confidence that it takes for a gay person or a trans person or somebody like that to come out, right? The confidence to walk down the street not caring what people think, to get a sex change, to do this, to do that. The the level of confidence that it takes, and the willpower it takes to go through that and not shut yourself away and be like distraught and filled with anxiety and depression over it, but actually hold your head up high. I think this was done in a series in Netflix. There's a gay character, a black character, slightly a cross-dresser. What was that called? Sex Education, I believe it was called. And in that, we have a great character who goes through that transformation, gets beat up for wearing girls' clothes, gets beat up for wearing makeup, etc., etc. And then he goes into a very whole, I'm going to go to church, I'm going to dress like a guy, I'm very depressed. And then eventually, like, things happen, and he ends up holding his head up high, doesn't care what his parents think anymore, doesn't care what the people at school think. He walks in there, makeup, whole bit, and just holds his head up high and does not care. The willpower that takes. So I understand the premise of this is much deeper. It's done for the lulz here, but the premise is fair. It's like me going outside right now wearing a summer dress. Like, that would take, metaphorically, that would take some balls for me to go do that, right? But the idea is to not be embarrassed, to be able to talk normally, to not blush and be like, oh, why are you doing that, and cover up and feel all self-conscious. The idea is to do it with confidence, to build up your willpower, to build up your spirit. So I fully understand the premise, and then it just gets weird. I mean, this whole manga is weird, but for some reason, things I don't understand, like, none of this should be affecting him at this point. Like, for example, the teacher asks him to read something aloud in the next panel, and he's not able to, like Matsuri is just being so quiet, like, blah, 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 I'll translate this line, blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, you're wearing underwear, but you're already a girl. Like the whole wearing underwear thing should not, nobody can see it right now. It's not like he's a guy who's all of a sudden dressing as a girl and everybody's staring at him. It's not so provoked. He's mentally, we can see now, you could argue that this is sort of a mental concentration, like this is mental willpower, because even though he knows, nobody knows that he's wearing panties right now, he is so focused on it, he's so one track mind focused, that it's ruining all aspects of what he's doing right now. And I don't think that was the right message to come across. The first message at the beginning of the chapter made a lot of sense, but the situations done here for comedy speak of two separate issues. First, they speak of spirit and willpower, which I fully understand, but then we're seeing that he can't even function, as though this is his first day in a woman's body. But we know that he's been able to behave properly for 44 chapters now in a woman's body perfectly fine and adapt very well to that. The fact that the change up, he's been wearing a sports bra nonetheless, but a bra, he's been wearing women's skirts and stuff like that, all of a sudden wearing panties is completely crazy for him. And it's completely turned him 180, and I don't think that was the right message to do here in this chapter. It's done for comedy reasons, of course, but once again, they had a good message to send, and a good spirit of a message to send, but then it sort of gets flipped here, and this is why I laugh at the chapter, because after this, we get, so he can't even speak right, and then they want to eat lunch on the roof, and then I guess he's worried that his skirt will flip up when he's sitting down on the roof with the wind or something, and he goes, the rooftop, it's dangerous, can we eat in the classroom? And they're like, oh, why are you acting so, like, moy? Why you're so mo, why are you so cute, why are you so kawaii? And it's just like, what? And so then he's not able to athletically, he can't understand, he's wobbling, which makes, once again, no sense. If this was going to be a thing, this should have been a running gag for the entire manga. Now all of a sudden, his figure is completely different, his physiology is completely different, he's got breasts the size of next Tuesday, he's got a butt that just won't quit, and all of a sudden, now he's uncoordinated in gym class. That makes no sense. A fundoshi is basically a male thong. It's a rope thong. So this is really, like, I understand your comfort level, but he should have been uncomfortable from chapter 1, which we saw he was, but this one little thing should not be affecting all these aspects. And this is a serious, like, I'm really taken out of the moment here, and this is why I laugh at this chapter. This is not a very good chapter because it had a great idea, a great premise to go off of, but then it's ruined here by all the situations they put him in for comedic reasons and showcase that he can't do anything right, his lower body feels weak, and all this stuff. And it's supposed to be a comedic error, like he's tied to the fundoshi. Without my Speedo, I am nothing. And it's like, that's a wrong message to send with the premise of the chapter, at least as far as I'm concerned. Of course, we do have Suzu trying to figure out, like, is he wearing panties or whatever, and we get Rio there, and thing with Rio showing, like, here's a fundoshi, I know this is really a struggle for you, you don't have to do this, and we get her end up using her Omo Kage abilities to make a miniature version of herself to try to look up the skirt, but then she realizes, yes, he is wearing panties. She Matsuri flashes them, yada yada yada, but he can't accept doing this. This is a trial. This is a strength to, he wants to increase his cone as much as possible because he's going to be fighting. This is a good message to send, but everything in between was a terrible way to represent it because it takes away from the grand message, at least that I feel could have been a much deeper meaning. Once again, this is a comedy ichi manga, but I just feel like there are certain situations that you could do so much more with. It's also a drama. It's also a shonen, so it's okay to have these certain other, like, more serious aspects and not poke fun at them. You could put her, like, you could put Matsuri in many hilarious situations without doing it this way from a mental standpoint and a gymnastic standpoint, because it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And then he refuses the fundoshi and exposes the panties and says, I'm going to continue to wear this cute underwear because it's going to increase my cone. It's going to help me. And then we get the fact that, like, his mother even says, like, you do actually have strong willpower and blah, blah, blah. And then we get the hilarity scene of, farewell, my fundoshi, I shall now forever wear panties. And it's like, okay, like this, but this manga is not supposed to be pure comedy. It's a comedy with an ichi, but every shonen manga has a comedic aspect. Comedy, it goes with manga hand in hand. So it's almost in almost every running manga, there's always a comedic aspect, even in the most serious ones. In Death Note and Fullmetal Alchemist, even a level of things like Berserk actually have one or two comedic moments in them. Like, it's not something, regardless of your genre that you choose or your demographic, there's always the anime tropey comedic elements. So that's fine, dandy, but the way they handled this, I just felt was completely wrong. Maybe I'm reading too much into this, guys. Once again, this is a much longer review, but I just feel like there was just a lot more to talk about specifically in this, and I just didn't like the fact of how they handled everything going on here. So, but what did you guys think of the chapter? What do you think of the review? Like, comment, and subscribe as always. Chapter Ayakashi Triangle 44. We will see you guys back here next time. Don't forget to drink responsibly as always. Peace out, ladies and gentlemen.